sponsor. Thank you very much. Matas, Luka, my members from the Switch team. There is also Tristan, who was working with me 8 or 9 years ago. Giant, who is my client. So thank you everybody. David Bain as well for coming. I would like to say that the last 6.5 years I was working in Uswitch, but obviously, 6.5 years is a huge time for this industry. And 3 months ago, I became for the first time a father, and I decided to change the path and spend more time at home with my little daughter and my wife, and as well working from home. So obviously, I don't want to do a pitch, so I was thinking that I will share with you a couple of tactics that you can implement tonight. So, the first tactic I wanted to talk, it is how I'm dealing with Google Data Studio and the Search Console. So, Google Search Console, as you know, especially the new one, is a very, very powerful tool. But there are some limitations, and if you go to the Google Search Console and you will try to export the data, then you will see here that there is only 999 rows. And what we can do with this, is this the whole amount of keywords that we have there? Actually, no. We can go and start using Data Studio, which is more and more powerful. So what I'm doing, I'm just plugging my Search Console into the Data Studio, and because Search Console and Data Studio are communicating with each other with APIs, I will have a much, much broader view. So what I'm doing, I'm just choosing one of the Zelezny UK as an example, my website, and you can see like I'm even adding specific pages as properties, because that is giving me a nice view. And I'm saying like, yeah, that's are the dimensions and metrics that I can pull. And when I'm giving access to my Search Console, to Data Studio, I see something like this. I have lots of widgets that I can use, and the most important is a table. If you go to table, you will simply see that you can add click, site, CTR, impressions, and average position. And what will happen then? You don't have any more 999 keywords. You have much more. This is the same export, and you have here 5,169 keywords. So you have pretty much all the keywords that Search Console has been able to catch. And now you can do plenty of things, because you can export this and start optimizing for existing keywords. At the beginning of this tactic, I said low-hanging fruits. What I understand as low-hanging fruits is show me where I am ranking already, and if I can rank a little higher. So this is how the table looks like, and right mouse, and I can simply download this. But obviously, I went a bit deeper, and there is a website actually the domain I'm very proud of. I was born in Poland, and I'm still quite connected with Polish industry. I have a domain socialmedia.pl, which was owned by a previous guy. There was some links already, but the website was not performing, and he sold me this for a relatively funny price. And I started dealing with this over and over and over, and I started dealing with this Data Studio, and then finally I built something what I call a tool, Generic Keyword Researcher. And it looks like that. So we have not only data from Search Console, which is here, but also from Analytics, which is here. So I can see queries, landing pages, and not only metrics from Search Console, but also I can amalgamate them with metrics from Google Analytics. Like, for example, bounce rate or average time on site, and so on and so on, aside of the normal standard metrics from Search Console. And then, what I'm normally doing, I'm exporting this to CSV or to Excel, and I'm doing simple pivot, where I'm not looking on keywords as a primary metric or primary dimension, I'm looking on landing pages as a primary dimension. And I'm flipping this, so I know that, for example, Zelezny UK/HTTP status checker is ranking on this keyword, and I can start optimizing for these keywords because I see positions here. I know that this URL is ranking by average on 16th position, and I can choose a couple of keywords that I think that are most relevant and start doing optimization. And optimization is pretty simple. You know, all old school stuff we're doing all our life. So title modification, adding paragraph of text, changing text, and so on and so on, adding images, adding internal links, and so on and so on. Tactic 2, on-page optimization. So I have 3 screens here. Screen like that. What tool it is? Anyone knows?
Mirage.
Exactly. Exactly. This is Giant. That was you. Okay. And this is SEMrush. And why I like to work with SEMrush is because obviously SEMrush is very wide tool. It's providing lots of different things. But what I like the most is when you're working with your customer, you can simply present something like that. Very measurable way where you spend your time, what the customer is paying you for. Because here is a total score, and you're trying to be closer and closer and closer to 100%. Very often it's not possible because of some really deep things like HTML to text ratio and so on. But if you can get 90–95% and you can show that, hey, number of errors across your website was 250, and after a couple of weeks we put this down to 6, and we recently put down a number of notices, there was some problem here, bulk, with warnings. So that way, you can easily show that you're really working and you're trying to make website of your customer or your client or your in-house company working for better and better. Now, something that what I call, if something looks stupid but works, it's not anymore stupid. So, merge subdomains into folders. This is my super secret weapon tactic, and I will show you 2 examples. So this is the first example. Blog.domain.com, client 1 came to me and he showed me his setup, old website, and the blog was on the subdomain. The first thing I suggested was like, hey, let's move this blog.domain to subfolder. And he was like, why? Because I was like, this now you have kind of like 2 websites. One is blog.domain.com and the other one is domain.com. And he was like, but isn't this like moving sofa between one side of the room to the other? I was like, no, it's like you have a magical sofa that if you were moved on the other side, your house will inflate into like 20 rooms hacienda. So what I said, when I said this to him, he was like, you know what, Lukasz? Fuck it, let's move this to root folder. I was like, seriously, are you serious? You want to move this whole blog into root folder? It's like, yeah, we will do 301, we will move every article into root folder. I was like, okay, no problem. And we did this. We moved whole blog, which was there for many years, inside the root folder. And you know what happened? This. Try to guess when we moved this blog into subfolder. It's pretty clear, and the funniest thing is that he was nowhere close to his competitors. He was nowhere close to market leader, but now he is. Okay, now he is, and I think the other guys are really struggling to understand what happened. And then when I learned that, I sold the same strategy to my other client, who surprisingly had forums.domain.com. And I was like, no, don't move this to root folder because that will like bloody mess. Let's move this to forums folder. So he did, and what happened? Boom. Straight away. Uplift. And trust me, if you look on the stats, it's not like you're moving traffic from subdomain into subfolder. There is a massive synergy. If you had 5,000 sessions on your subdomain, then on the subfolder and overall on the domain, you will have like 3–4 times more. Why? Because you're kind of merging 2 domains into one. You're merging the backlink profiles together and you're generating a massive synergy. Link building with brand tracking, my favorite, because it's a little about me. So when your name is Lukasz Zelezny, a Polish name, Czech surname, and you're moving to England, what could go wrong? I was Lukasz Zelensky, and I was like, seriously, you know, I was like, I think I need to change. It's time to change this name, and I wanted to have sophisticated name and very common surname. And I was joking that I would be like Archibald Smith. So when I was thinking that way, then I noticed that there was actually Archibald Smith. And he was born in 1830, he was Scottish, and then he died in 1872, but he's still ranking first in Google. And by the way, when I was providing this presentation, I was like, hold on, let me show this photo closer. It's like, oh my gosh, grandfather. I was like, maybe I wasn't my ancestors were in Czech Republic. Maybe I'm Scottish. So yeah, I was like, okay, this won't work. So then I noticed that when you have crazy name and surname, actually it's brilliant to track your brand mentions, personal brand mentions. So I started doing research, and I know that there is Stockholder, Brand24, Fresh Web Explorer, and Google Alerts, which never works. So I went into Brand24, and I was like, okay, let's see how it will work, and if I can do link building with brand tracking. So I set up, and I said, track keywords, all my crazy mistypos, Zelensky, Zeleny, with Polish character, with space, without space, all the possibilities is here. And I said, hey, Brand24, track this, and I want to see where are mentions of my name and surname. And I get the report, and I could see that predominantly social media, no opportunity for link in SEO meaning. But then I had a blog, and I had other unclassified, some news websites, and I was like, wow, this works. So I could approach these people who mentioned me and say, like, first of all, thank you very much for mentioning me. I already posted this on my Twitter and Facebook. And by the way, do you think there would be a way that you could make my name and surname a link? And very often people are like, yeah, absolutely. That's normal. So take a look at this. This is my website in Majestic, and I have 217 referring domains, and pretty much most of them being built like that. I'm approaching people who mention me in some articles, or there was a conference, or there was a meetup, and I'm politely asking if they can link to me. Then, one day I was even like that, shocked, because what I see was this. So, you know, this is Russian, and I can speak little Russian. I mean, I can speak better, more vodka I drink, and I have neighbors which I have sessions once a month. So, obviously, you know, this is Russian, this is Cyrillic, but my name and surname was written in Latin alphabet, and I get a message. I was like, what is this? And then I realized that this is a legit article. Someone took my article from LinkedIn, translated this, and then put a link here. And I was like, listen, thank you very much, but can you change this link from LinkedIn to my website? Because I believe LinkedIn have enough links. No problem. Okay, I think this is the last tactic, or almost the last one. WordPress. Who is using WordPress? Raise your hand. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So I just wanted to share a couple of my favorite plugins. First, WPA SEO Autolinker. You can consistently link between pages on the same anchor texts. So you're doing this the same way like newspapers are doing. Gonzalez plugin, which is all about speed, as you can expect. It's a paid plugin, $20, 4 pints, but that's a good investment. Auto-Optimize. Anyone is using Auto-Optimize? No one? Auto-Optimize is like one of the best things that could happen to WordPress. I'm using this plugin with passion. I cannot imagine myself living without this plugin. It's making your website much, much faster because of the compression, because of caching, and so on. You can just click these 3 ticks and job done. Append on copy. If someone is copying fragment of the text from your website, the link to your website will be added. Finally, last tactic is a cloud. Remember not to save money on things that you shouldn't save. So, you know, these days page speed is one of the main factors without any doubts. And I'm using SiteGround. There is obviously WP Engine. These two, I think, are the leader one because they are optimized for WordPress, and so on, and so on, and so on. The basic package for SiteGround is like £9 or something like that. I'm using right now Cloud because I have a couple of websites, but this is very well invested money. So now results, and how I'm measuring results with search metrics, for example, or with Google Analytics, obviously, but also with SEMrush. And here is the website, the example of a website when there were blockers. I've been able to identify these blockers and unlock them, and the visibility went massively up. This is another website where I've been consistently building content, and the visibility was growing. And here is my little baby, socialmedia.pl. And you can see, this is where I acquired this website. And then when I started optimizing, you can see this growth is because of group optimization and predominantly because of the page speed. And that was it for tonight. Thank you very much for having me.